Hi, Brandy. Thank you for coming. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I'm so happy to talk to a fellow you're Reiki master. I'm only Reiki practitioner. So we can talk a little bit about that today. And
Right.
although you also do sound healing, you do healing in general. You have a whole thing that you do. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about spirituality and science. I like that. When it's all with together. And also we're going to talk about kids.
Okay.
Uh, so you have four children that you homeschool. So first of all,
Yeah, I have 4. Well, okay, and they've
bravo.
always been homeschooled ever since, they were younger, so they never attended a brick and mortar school, so they were always
Wow.
homeschooled, but the 3 older ones, they're now all in college.
Okay,
So,
congratulations. You
yeah.
did a good job then.
There's only 1 left here at home that's homeschooling.
Wow. And from what I read from you, you have a big career. So I don't know how you juggle all of this. Four kids, the career, you're a medium, you're a healer, you do a lot of things, you have a master. Uh, and also you give advice to parents about
Right, right.
with their kids. So you're both like a parenting coach, a homeschooler, mother. So what did you learn about emotional intelligence in
Mhm.
children that most parents maybe overlook?
Well, I think the best thing that I've learned, I really wish I would have learned this when my children were younger. I think it would have made me more effective as a mother. And that is learning how to use astrology and incorporate it in my parenting style. So,
Really,
yeah,
astrology.
each child has a natal chart. Every person has a natal chart. At the time that you were born, you've got a particular chart that you've come in with that really defines you as a person. What are you here to do? What's your life purpose? What's your emotional style? What makes you feel safe? What's your communication style? What's your learning style? We can see all of that in the chart. And I wish I would have had that information about my children when they were younger. I didn't learn about it until the older ones were in their teen years. And like I said, I think it would have made me much more effective as a mother. So my goal now is to help other parents, when their children are young, to learn about the wonderful, magnificent being that they have the privilege of raising and knowing them through their chart and being more effective that way.
Because you have a show also it's called the Stellar Parenting,
Right. Stellar parenting.
and that's why you weave astrology and developmental science.
Right.
So so you think that the stars and planets can help parents better understand their child's emotional world?
Definitely. And I'll give you an example, okay? So I've got 3 boys and a girl, and my oldest, Amir, when he was younger and he was potty training, he would go and do number 1 in the potty, no problem. We had no issue with that. But he had a little bit of fear and anxiety when it came to number 2. So he would continue to use his pull up. And I tried every technique that I could find, read every book that I could on potty training, and there was nothing that was working. And I was getting really frustrated. So one day I remember sitting in the den, the coffee table's right in front of me, and my husband's big textbook of internal medicine was on the table. So I picked up, the textbook, opened it to the section on dermatology, and there were images of skin diseases and disorders. So I called my son over and I'm like, look at the pictures. It's really important that we keep our skin clean because we want to stay away from this. We don't want this, right? And he just looked at the pictures and he never had an accident after that. Never. He was done. He was potty trained after that. Okay. So I thought that I was like this genius, like the potty training fairy, and that it was going to be easy with my next 3 children. I'm like, "Oh, I've got the secret. I've nailed this." I tried it with all 3 and it didn't work with any of the others. And for so many years, I wondered, why did it work for him, but it didn't work for my other 3? Then I learned about astrology. I studied all 4 of their charts. And what I understood about Amir is that the moon is the part in the chart that talks about how we express our feelings and emotions, but also what makes us feel safe and nurtured. Amir's moon is in the sign of Virgo. Virgo is the sign of cleanliness and health and hygiene. So there's this whole concept for him of being clean. I'm safe. And so when I opened the textbook for him, I was speaking his language without knowing it. The other three, that was not their language. They don't have Virgo planets in their charts, but it worked for Amir. So that's why I feel like it's so important for parents. We assume, so many of us assume that it's a one size fits all approach. What worked for the oldest is going to work for the rest of them. What worked for me, what my parents did for me, I'm going to do that with my kids. And it's not a one size fits all approach. You've got drastically different individuals, and you must speak to them in different ways and nurture in different ways and motivate them in different ways.
Okay, so this is so weird because I have a 3-year-old. How old was your son when we did that?
Amir
You
was
opened the
around
book.
three. Yes, three.
Oh my God. And I have the exact same issue. She will do number one, no problem. She
Mm.
will run to the toilet, but
Mhm.
she doesn't want to do the number two.
Right.
That's sitting in a pull up. So when you were telling the
Right.
story, I was like, if you think about my child,
Oh, wow. Wow.
so maybe I don't know, her moon is also like this, and I have to show her something about cleanliness because it's such because my first one was so easy. She was potty trained in a week. And that
Oh,
one has been like
wow.
3 or 4 months like that when she doesn't want to do it.
Wow.
So
Yeah. Yeah, and so you wanna
I
look at
really
the
know what
moon
you're talking
sign,
about.
find out her moon sign, and then you speak to that. Like, so for example, my daughter, her moon is in the sign of Taurus. Taurus is a sign that's all about the 5 senses. It's very sensual, okay? And so with my daughter, I showed her the pictures and it went right over her head. That wasn't her language, right? What I could have done with her moon in Taurus is to stimulate her senses in some way. So I could have given her a scratch and sniff sticker every time she went to the potty, or a little fuzzy toy or something like that, or a sweet piece of candy, right? Anything to stimulate her senses. That probably would have been more effective for her.
This is so interesting. I love it. And you know, you have such a unique blend of science and spirituality in your work.
Mm.
And so you have a background in psychology
Yeah,
also.
I have my master's in psychology. Yes.
Yeah. And so how did your background in psychology, involve into the intuitive and astrological, practice that you have today?
This all really happened. Like, I wish I could tell you, yeah, I designed this and planned it. This was all very, very, very accidental. I
I love it when it happen like that. I love
Yes,
it.
but it has come together in the most beautiful and amazing way. Like even with homeschooling the kids and learning about my children, and then 15 years ago, if you had asked me about astrology, I would have laughed at you and said, only people who are like this believe in astrology because I did not believe in astrology. And then so I learned about astrology and then learned the science. And like you said, it's come together in a really beautiful way, but I didn't plan to work with it this way. Now, the thing about astrology, though, is especially Western astrology, you're really learning about your inner psychology. You're learning about how you think. You're learning about how your child thinks, right? And and with that, there's more of an appreciation for the individual that you're dealing with, and there's less judgment. There's less of an effort to, oh, I'm going to make you like me. You need to think like me. You need to see the world like me. You need to act like me. No. When you can understand someone's chart, especially your child's chart, then you can give them free reign to be the individual that they're meant to be.
Yeah. And you talk often, about raising sensitive, intuitive children, right?
Yes.
So how can parents they can recognize if their child is like maybe like a star seed or very highly empathic soul? What are the signs? How do we know?
What I noticed, especially with two of my children, okay, all of them when they were younger would talk about seeing things or
Oh,
people. Yeah, that we're not quite there, that I wasn't seeing or hearing things, especially after my father died in 2016. One of my children had the experience where he literally saw him.
mm,
So it's things like this when your child comes to you and they talk about how they're seeing grandma or they're hearing something or they're sensing something and you're not quite sensing the same thing, I want you to believe them. So many times we tell our children, no, that's not real. Those things don't exist. Well, but a lot of times they're more sensitive and they're picking up on things that we're not.
So believe them.
I
Yeah.
would say
It's not
believe them,
only their imagination. Mhm.
validate. Yes, validate their experience, validate what they are perceiving. I would imagine it's really painful as a young child to be experiencing something and then to go to mom or dad and they tell me that I'm making it up, that I'm just imagining it, that I'm not telling the truth. That's incredibly invalidating. So, yes, validate your children, listen to them.
And sometimes I'm thinking also when you're parenting, that can often trigger your own childhood, wound.
Exactly.
So when parents come to you, you have parents use these moments as maybe opportunity for personal growth, rather than being frustrated. Do you
Right.
have like some tips you give them?
Right. Yes. So many times, like when it comes to parenting, something will happen that will trigger us and that will take us back to when we were younger. And from that point, we lose access to our prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is the part of the brain that involves deep thinking, rational thinking, good decision making. When that prefrontal cortex shuts down because of stress or triggers, then we're acting from our reptilian brain, from the amygdala. And we're just like, well, I'm just going to do, and I'm not thinking. So the first thing that we have to help parents to do is to be able to catch themselves in a moment where they realize that they've probably gone to the reptilian brain and that's where they're acting from, to take a deep breath, regain their center, wait until the prefrontal cortex is back online before they engage. Or else you're just reacting and you're repeating the same patterns that your parents probably acted out with you.
That's so hard to catch yourself.
Yeah. Oh, it's very hard. Very hard. Yes.
The moment, like, okay, stop and think.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Yes.
And so I read on your bio, so I don't know what it is, and I don't know if a lot of people know. So please explain. You're level 13 Arcturian healing practitioner.
Yes.
Is this a new modality? What does exactly, Arcturian healing entail? And how does it differ with maybe Reiki or traditional
Yeah.
energy
So like
work?
with Reiki, we're more opening ourselves up to the universal energy, right? We're just channels of of divine energy in such a beautiful way. When it comes to Arcturian healing, and I began training for that back around the time my father died, so around 2016. And that really involves channeling the energy from the star system Arcturus, or if you've heard of the star beings, the Arcturians. Uh,
No, I never heard of this. Never. So I'm
oh,
very
yeah.
curious.
Yeah. So a lot of
Yeah.
people, many people have heard of the Pleiadians or maybe Syrians. Yeah, but there's also Arcturians as well. And
Okay.
they do quite a bit to try to help us to raise the vibration here on Earth. Okay. And
Okay.
so with that particular healing modality, you're channeling the energy from that star system, from those beings, like to help facilitate healing. And that can be physical healing, emotional healing, or mental healing. So it's really tapping into the energy almost of another dimension or star
Okay.
system. Yes.
I was going to ask you, they're from another dimension.
Yes.
And do you mix that with Reiki or is it something different?
Oh,
Some
it's
people will
something
come to you,
different. Yeah. Yeah. So it's different.
something different.
I'd use them separately. Yes.
Okay. And you will know when somebody arrives, you said, okay, this person I will treat her with Arcturian and this one I will use just Reiki
Yeah, so
for
usually
different
usually
issues.
the client will tell you exactly where they are. So if from a
Mhm.
soul perspective, if what they need is Reiki, then that's usually what they request, right?
Okay.
But if there's some awareness about the Arcturians or they're drawn to those frequencies, there's a reason for it, and then that's the approach that I'll use with that particular client.
And what is like rapid transformational therapy? What is that? Do you include that also in there? Because I think that's neuroscience, right?
Yeah, so
So,
that's a
mhm.
technique that was developed by Marissa Peer. She's a therapist over in the UK, very, very well known, and she developed this modality. So it's like a combination of a bunch of different methods and hypnosis where someone will come to you and say, I want more confidence. And I regress you, I take you into hypnosis and we go back through some childhood events to find out, well, where did the loss of confidence occur? Where did that
Okay.
occur? How can we now look at that situation from a different perspective? How can we use that for growth? And then the session ends with me recording a 15 or 20-minute hypnosis track for you that you'll listen to once a day for 21 days, either right when you wake up or right when you're going to bed. That's when your subconscious mind is the most receptive. And the clients that I've had for RTT absolutely love it. The only reason I decided to learn it was because I had a session. I did the hypnosis track for 21 days and the results were freaking amazing. Like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
love that. Yeah, I love that approach. And that's usually people will come in when there's a block and they can't figure out why. Like, why can I not release this anxiety that I have? Or what's getting in the way? Why do I always feel like I don't have enough money? What belief do I
Yeah.
have or did I adopt as a child about no, you're never going to have enough money. There will never be enough. You're always going to, scrounge for money.
Yeah. I love that hypnotism thing because it just go to your subconscious where everything is, you know,
Yes.
blocked over there. You unblock that,
Yes.
and you ask your ego to shut up and let the work be done in the back
Right. Yeah.
of your mind. Yeah, yeah.
And I don't think a lot
Um,
of people realize it's your subconscious beliefs that are running the show,
mhm,
that
I
run the
know.
show. They run the script of your life.
Yeah. What do you think about subliminal message? Like listening to something like there's music and there's
Hidden
subliminal,
misses
message
hidden
in
messages,
the
yeah.
background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. It's akin to hypnosis, but in a sense, you wanna do it when your subconscious mind is in a really relaxed state where you can kind of absorb the suggestions.
Okay. Not working at the same time or
Yeah, I
anything like
think it would
that.
be less effective.
That's effective.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. And so do you work more with parents or more with like just somebody would come to you and say,
Both,
I don't know
yeah.
why I have this block or
Yeah, yeah.
because
Just individuals
yeah,
or parents, yeah.
okay. And why would they come to you the most? For instance, the parents with their kids. What kind of issue they have with their kids? Why would they come to you,
Um,
ask you for guidance?
like, for example, I had someone that's like, "Oh, I can't figure out, me and my daughter, we're always going at it. Like, we never
Mm,
can communicate right, and I don't understand what I'm doing wrong, and I don't understand exactly why she's always upset with me." So then when, I've got a parent that comes to me that way, I will take that parent and go through their child's natal chart with them and say, "Hey, this is why she may be getting upset so easily about, this subject matter, or, this is her communication style. It's very soft, but you may be coming at her kind of hard. And then, she's very sensitive and then she might want to pull back." So I walk them through the natal chart because I feel like when you give a parent really a really good understanding of who their child is, uh, with that understanding, there's a lot of allowance. And there's less of a need to fight and argue about everything because I understand you more as a person. I understand where you're coming from. I understand why you may have done what you done or why you may have said that. Instead of assuming things, it gives a really deep level of understanding.
yeah, I mean, I can see that you're very, passionate about helping others to trade, they want to trust their inner guidance. But some people, they will struggle to
Hmm.
connect with their own intuition.
Right.
Um, do you know where should they begin
With intuition,
to trust
honestly,
your own intuition?
I'm gonna tell you,
It's so hard,
it took
especially as a woman.
oh, it took me until I'd say my late 20s, early 30s before I even really started to trust my intuition because the
Yeah,
message that I had received earlier in life through religion was that intuition was a bad thing, that was Satan and you don't, it's demons and demonic and no, you can't listen to that and don't listen to intuition. It's a bad thing, right?
what religion was that?
I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness. I grew Yes.
Okay, I have Jehovah's Witness in my family. I know
Okay.
what you're talking about.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, so I grew up as
Oh
a
my
Jehovah's
god.
Witness. I'll just tell you about an experience that I had. I was 16
Hmm.
years old. Me and my mom and my aunt were on the couch. was a Saturday night. A new episode of a show that used to come on back then called Showtime at the Apollo was on, right? And it was amateur
Mhm.
night. And it was a new episode. So the first contestant comes out and I'm like, oh, he's going to sing. He's going to sing A Ribbon in the Sky by Stevie Wonder. Steve Harvey
Eh.
said, well, what are you going to sing, man? He said, Ribbon in the Sky. And I was like, oh my gosh. And my mom and my aunt just looked at me. They didn't say anything. Next person comes out. I'm like, he's a comedian. He's going to tell jokes. Steve Harvey said, what are you going to do? He said, I'm going to tell a few jokes. Everybody just looked at me. And I'm like, wow, this is working. Third one came out and I'm like, oh, she's a dancer. She's going to dance. And of course she was a dancer. And by that time, my mom and my aunt were like, Brandi, stop, stop.
Yeah.
You've already seen this. Stop. And I could tell the way that they were saying stop, it was like there was something wrong with what I was doing. And I remember getting up from the couch and walking to my room. And I made the decision on that walk to my room that I would never do again what I just did on the I would never do it again. And I completely shut down my intuition. So it took me until my late 20s, early 30s before I could open it up again. And the thing that helped me the most was Reiki.
Oh
Reiki.
my God. Yes.
Reiki
Yes,
was
yes,
where it
yes.
all started. So I always tell people if you're looking to open up energetically, get attuned to Reiki.
I've been in this for like 2 days and I can already see the changes.
Yes, it makes you more energetically sensitive because from
Oh my God.
Reiki, after Reiki, that's when the intuitive development showed up for me, and then the mediumistic development, and then the astrology and all of this other stuff. But it started with Reiki. And that's why people call Reiki the gateway drug because it's like from
Yes.
there,
Yeah.
everything else opens up. You're much more sensitive.
Yeah. I'm so happy I made the decision. I was on the fence for a while, but I'm so happy I made the decision to
Yeah.
learn it. Life changing.
Yeah.
So I guess now that you're a medium, this part of this family doesn't talk to you anymore
Well, yeah. So well, precisely.
because this is like
There's still a
Satan
lot of
work.
there's still a lot of judgment, and I feel the judgment, and I'm sad by the judgment. But there's so many more I try to focus on that accept me for what I do.
Yes.
Yeah, but yeah, it
Talk
was
about it.
difficult. Like it was really difficult.
Oh, oh, I know. I know. Believe me, I know.
Yeah.
So how do you balance, so many roles? So healer, teacher, astrologer, radio host,
Mm,
a mother, because you have to stay grounded to do all
yes.
that well, right?
Right.
So how do you do to stay grounded, centered in your own energy?
Oh my gosh, my kids do a really good job of that because they always tell me,
Oh,
"Mom,
good.
mom, no, mom, you can't do that, mommy. You got to do it this way." And like, I'm like, well, to y'all, do I ever do anything right? Like, all I ever hear is criticism, you know. So it's really hard to like get a big head with these kids around that are always saying, "Hey, mom, why'd you do that?" or "Mom, this," or "Mom, that." I'm like, oh gosh, but it's wonderful. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Okay, so yeah, that's good. Yeah, I know it's a lot of work, so you understand. And 4 kids, I can even imagine.
Yeah, yeah.
And do you work with family like around the world?
Yes. Actually, most of my
Yeah.
clients, I see them on Zoom and I work internationally. So people from other countries, a lot of times I will have them as clients.
Okay. So what do you feel is the most transformative shift that's happening right now? Because I know a lot of people are waking up.
I
I
know
talk to a
it's
lot of,
amazing.
yeah, right. A lot of people are aware now. What do you think is more transformative right now in parenting, consciousness?
In parenting and consciousness, I would just say right now, we're having something astrologically where we've got Saturn and Neptune together. Okay, and this has really been happening earlier this year, and it's coming again right now. And with that combination of those two planets, so many things that we thought were real, so many things that we thought were true, now we're questioning everything. It's almost like the veil has been lifted. I don't know if you've noticed, it seems like there's more information coming in over
A
the
lot.
last few months.
Oh
So
yeah.
now, with all of the brain science that we're learning about, right? My parents didn't have that. They didn't know, like, that, well, maybe your approach might be harmful in the future. But we've got all of this scientific information coming through, all this information coming through about growth and development and the prefrontal cortex. And it's really transformed the way I think that parents are relating to their children because when I was growing up, it was like, you want the belt, and that was the only option.
We had the same parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's something I try, you try to, when you become a parent, you're like, okay, we're going to get rid of
Yeah.
this.
Right.
Maybe keep some stuff that were good, but
Right.
we're going to definitely get rid of that
Right.
and talk to your kid, right?
Right. Right.
Sometimes my mom will say, "Oh, she did this. You should do that." I'm like, "She's not like your dog," because she's always comparing her grandchildren to her dog. Like she's not a dog.
Right.
I'm gonna talk to her.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Right. Right.
And so yeah, I think my last question will be what piece of soul guided advice
Hmm.
to parents raising the next generation, of Antiquary children. Yeah, what would it be?
I would say allow your child to be who they came here to be. So our children are
Mhm.
not meant to be a reflection of us. Just because dad was an athlete, that doesn't mean his sons all have to be athletic. Just because mom was a seamstress and was really into cooking and homemaking, that doesn't mean that her daughter's got to follow the same path. Your daughter might have a different path. The sons may have a different path. There may be a son that wants to be a musician and dad doesn't quite understand it. So I think it's so important for us to allow our children to be who they came here to be and not who we want them to be.
Yeah. Personally, that's something I always believed in. I
Yes.
always believe I have 2 daughters, and, I'm always like, "You're gonna be what you're supposed to be. I don't want you to be like me, or you have some of my traits, I know, but yeah, definitely be who you're supposed to be."
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you wanna add maybe something I didn't ask, or anything more about astrology or
Oh,
Reiki
you
or
you covered it
healing?
all. You did a really good job. Wonderful job. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Well, I love your profile. It was so inspiring, and there's so much to say, and
Oh, thank
so
you.
much to learn. I really, loved it because when I was younger, I was really into astrology. Then I don't know, I just don't didn't pay attention to it
Right.
more than that, and now I'm just going back to it a little bit because there's so many people talking about it and
Right. Right.
taking it as a reference. I'm like, okay, maybe there's something to it. Maybe I need to go back
Yes,
and
there's a lot of truth to it. Yes, or in my opinion, it really
yeah.
it can you can make it make it can help you make such good decisions and really refine your approach to life.
Like this weekend, I learned because I was talking to the Reiki master who trained me. She's also an astrologer,
Mhm.
and she told me something. I was like, "What? I didn't know about that." She told
Mm.
me that your whole life you go around the whole wheel, so you can
Right.
change your sign changes. And I said, "Oh, I'm an Aquarius." She's like, "But you're not an Aquarius anymore. After 30 years, you move to something else."
Right, the
So she said, "You as we
progressions. Right.
progression, you're still gonna stay an Aquarius, but you're gonna be like." She said, "Right now, you might be a Pisces."
Right, exactly.
And I'm like, "What?"
Yeah. Yeah, your progressed sun changes signs. Yes, like, for example, my son was in the sign of Leo. Right now, my son is in the progressed sun is in the sign of Virgo.
Yeah, yeah. So to me, she's a Leo, and now she's more like a Libra, something like that. I don't
Oh,
remember.
yeah.
And I was like, "What? Okay, that's new information. I didn't know that." So,
Yeah.
and I thought she told me when you're at the end of the wheel, that's where you're supposed to not go or something like that. But
Mm.
when you did because she of course believes in reincarnation,
Oh, okay.
so
Oh,
we'll
okay.
talk about that too.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. So yeah, more and more I hear more about astrology. So I guess if it's coming back to my life,
Right.
something
Exactly.
something I have to look
Yeah.
into. All right. So Brandy, I will put the information of your website, of course, on the show notes if people want to contact you, connect with
All
you,
right. Thank you.
and see what you're doing if they need you, of course. And wish you all the best.
Thank
Very
you.
interesting
Thank you so much.
conversation.
This was wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, loved it.
Yeah.
Thank you for
All right.
coming.
Bye.
Bye.